Here? No. Here? No. 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 I know I have them somewhere. Here? No. Nope. Nah. Nej. Niet. Negatory. Gah! Hello, Gravy Gang! It's a new year, a new day, and time for a new direction for Lintcraft. In today's episode, we're going to expand our storage facility into a true inventory tower. Let's dive in. So like I said, just now, and also last episode, we're in a new phase of the series, phase 2 if you will, and the focus is improving on the half-finished builds littering my world. So let's check the message board and see what needs done. Yup, just as I suspected, add third story to inventory tower. Well, we're gonna do better than that today. So yeah, our storage. It's a mess. And worse, I've got construction areas all over the world with quarter-full double chests of all sorts of blocks. So I'm constantly remaking blocks I already have. We gotta fix this. So, the storage building needs organized, but before we do that, we're gonna finish building it. It doesn't have a roof or a proper entrance because it's meant to be much greater than it is. A glorious spire reaching to the heavens, full to the brim with blocks. So we're gonna add 2 more storage stories on top of the thing, and a nice bedroom base at the tippy top with a gravy view of everything. But before we do any of that, let's work on the basement. So I went ahead before I started the episode and dug out a space in the floor of the storage building to get us started. The plan is to build an epic, awesome aquarium underneath the storage tower and have a glass floor so you can see inside it. And not just any aquarium, but specifically an axolotl aquarium so we can get these adorable guys out of their buckets in the shulker box. Axolotl. Axolotl. The axolotls. So first we have to figure out the top rim of the aquarium, and I think we'll take these stone brick stairs and place them upside down to get a bit of depth added. I hope the axolotls don't get stuck on them like the bees do. Then we'll build the outer walls down, counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 down. We want to use an odd number since we've got an odd number wide. That'll create nice balance and a central singular block, and I have an idea for that. Next, we'll mirror the upper rim and bring the stairs in 1 block to frame the wall. Okay, let's get some light and start working on the floor. So for your aquariums, you don't want just boring old sand. You want to break it up with some other blocks, like coarse dirt and mud, but don't go too hard on it. And axolotls like clay, so we're going to make sure to add some clay patches here and there for them. Once we get the water in, we can come back and add seagrasses and such. Something I didn't add but really should have, mossy cobblestone would make an awesome aquarium rock, just like it makes an awesome forest rock. And I have exactly 9 sea lanterns, so we'll space them out to provide maximum lighting. It's starting to come together, so we'll do that thing I mentioned just now. The center blocks of all 4 walls are going to be pipes, if you will, going in all 4 directions, and we'll block them off with iron fences for little drain vents. One day, I'd like these to all connect to something, like the one headed under the castle could lead to an axolotl breeding pen room, and they could move freely around it. But for now, it's decorative. One other thing I want to add really quickly is a feeder machine. We'll take a dispenser and face it into the aquarium, connect it to a hopper and some redstone and torches, and put a chest in the floor there. Voila! Now we can put buckets of tropical fish into this chest and push the button to feed the axolotls. Now we just need a ton of extra buckets of tropical fish. Okay, time for the water. When filling in custom water features, you've gotta start at the bottom and go layer by layer. Luckily, once you get the first layer done, it becomes a lot easier to refill those buckets. Okay, let's get them in their new home and get onto the main build. Now, let's hop into my creative copy and take a look at the rough draft I've made. So you can see, here's a proof of concept. We want it to look pretty much like this when it's done, but better. We'll wing it just a little bit. You can see here I have 2 options I'm toying with, and I'm not set on exactly how the top floor wings out or the roof. Okay, back into survival Lintcraft, no cheats, completely vanilla, and let's get started. Okay, first things first, let's finish up the ground floor by adding a crazy 4th row of chests. This level, as it was before, will be overflow storage for any blocks I have a ton of, like cobblestone, so we want to make sure this level never fills up. And the chest is still reachable by the little landing. Then, we gotta slope the ceiling inward toward the glass, and replace this dark glass with light gray so we can see through it as much as possible. If I get the lighting right, we should be able to see the axolotl swimming around from 2 floors above. So next, we need to first decorate the main floor so we know how tall exactly this ceiling needs to be, as well as start the bottom of the next segment of the exterior to see what we're working with here in terms of floor levels. I haven't quite figured out how I want to get up here yet, but this will be where we keep our extra armor sets and maybe some secret goodies. In the corners, which were originally going to be where the ladders up and down would be, are now going to feature crafting tables, furnaces, etc. So each level is fully prepared to craft any and every block needed, freeing up the center of the rooms to be for the glass floors and a central way up and down. So the exterior is a pretty simple formula. We'll essentially repeat the exterior of the first floor 2 more times, with some slight modifications for symmetry. Inside the second floor, we can now start copy-pasting the shelf design from below. It isn't quite perfect, but using the upside-down stairs allows you to create solid block surfaces for the item frames, while allowing the chests to still be open. You could just put the item frame on the side of the chest and fit 3 extra rows of chests, but then you have to be precise where you're clicking so you don't hit the item frame. We'll repeat until it's 3 chest rows tall, and oh man, oh boy, is this gonna require a lot of chests and item frames. Be right back. Okay, now that the second floor chests are in place, we can start the next segment up and put in the next glass floor. So for this section of the exterior pattern, we're going to deviate just a smidge and bring in the outer acacia posts 1 block. This will let us keep the same size for the top chest room while tapering the tower just the tiniest bit as it gets closer to the top for a more smooth transition. And the second floor doesn't need the extra space on top of the shelves like the first floor did, so we can go more directly into sloping the ceiling toward the next glass floor. The third floor is going to be a little different, special. This will be the treasure room.
Stolen treasures!
Where we will keep all our most rare blocks. To make it look a little more treasury, we'll put glowstone columns in the empty spaces in the outer wall, so the shimmery golden glow will leak between the chests. It'll be subtle but totally gravy. Another difference with the treasure room is this wall. So the first floor has the main entrance facing west on this wall, and 2 floors up we're going to leave it blank so we can come back later and add a bridge over to the castle, so the castlers can have convenient access to their treasures without having to walk all the way around. So now, let's get all of the chest shelves in place and get the rest of the outer wall built. The top of this section is going to change it up a bit. This time, instead of having another segment, we're going to pull inward and make a square tower rising up out of the semicircular base. And we'll take the opportunity to put some grass blocks up here for a little window garden box. So now we'll have this section rise up pretty high, a tall, skinny segment between the inventory rooms and the penthouse. Unlike the creative draft, we're going to go up 3 window sections to hopefully get a better looking proportion for the overall tower. The creative draft felt a little stunted under that big draft roof. The inside of this section is going to be left blank for now, because we don't have the blocks I really want to put in here. Frog lights! I'd like one day to have columns of frog light illuminating this entire space, with maybe barrels for extra storage or a decorative library. I'm not sure yet, we'll worry about it later. Now, before we get to the penthouse, I do want to take a minute to shout out the MVP of this video, scaffolding. If you're just getting started in Minecraft and want to tackle some big, beautiful builds, I highly recommend you get yourself a bamboo farm set up as early in your world as you can. It doesn't have to be big or fancy, because bamboo grows quickly and is cheap to build with, as long as you can get renewable bamboo and especially if you can get it passively. Pair it up with a spider spawner farm for string, and you've got unlimited scaffolding to scale up and around your builds. Right, so for the balcony, we want to keep it the same as the creative draft, but a little more condensed and balanced feeling. So let's do the same sandstone stair ring to bring it out one, and then see what we're working with. Okay, so if we do a single mangrove stair layer to bring it out, another block in every direction, and if we put the acacia posts here? Let me check. Okay, what if we do something like this? This might work. Yeah, this is gonna be totally gravy. Okay, Gravy Gang, time for the hardest part, putting a roof on this thing. So as you can see in the creative copy, I want each of the cardinal entryways to have an arched roof over it that will kind of circle around and taper up, so the roof is more of a cone than a pyramid. But I have a feeling that once we're up in it and building it, it's going to quickly diverge, so we'll have to frequently check on it and make sure we're staying on point. This is going to be tricky, so let's time-lapse it and see what happens. Okay, that didn't turn out so bad. So we've got just a few things left before this build can be called done. We're going to scale up each side of the exterior and add polished deep slate wall columns for texture, and to tie in the heavy use of deep slate in the roof with the rest of the build, as well as bone meal all those grasses from earlier. We've also gotta light up the entire thing. The inside has gotten dark with all the tower above it, even with the glass floors, especially down in the axolotl aquarium. Mobs can't spawn on glass, slab, or stair blocks, but I'm still surprised we haven't gotten any spawns down there. So we want to be careful where we put these hanging lanterns, because we don't want to make it too difficult to access the upper chests or those armor stands. But if we have them ringing the glass floors, I think we'll be okay. And actually, the more I think about it, the better it'll look if we make the bridge on the second floor. It'll have symmetry from the exterior, and it makes more sense to have the treasure room be more private, right? And of course, we need so many more item frames. I suspect there's a few in a chest somewhere around here I missed, but I don't mind running the cow farm for a while. After all, solving that lost stacks of item issue is the whole point of today's episode. We won't ever have to worry about it again. Probably. And before we wrap this episode up, I do want to deal with the tower base here. It doesn't look great, so we're gonna raise the stone slabs to be above the grass line, not below it, as well as raise the outer crenellations for a more consistent look. And then we can add a simple little stair on the front and some basic lampposts. We'll detail this a bit more when we work on the castle, and of course the chests all need organized. But for now, I think that's an inventory tower done. Okay, Gravy Gang, that's episode 11 in the book. If you made it all the way to the end, thank you so much for watching, and as a reward for sitting through the whole thing, here's a little hint for next episode. We'll be switching gears away from fancy buildings and instead be talking about the mechanics of something that affects every Minecrafter, Bedrock and Java. So don't forget to tune in to the next episode of Lintcraft. Thanks again for watching. I hope you have a gravy day out there. Goodbye.